If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.
Top of the morning, afternoon, evening, folks. It's Captain Liam here. I've got a wonderful conversation coming up with Luke Randall, who's the Business Development Manager of Wilsonhalligan. How are you today, Luke?
Well, thank you. 100%.
Excellent. We're just talking about Wilsonhalligan being 20 years. The foundation of the company started small, has organically grown, and now Liam and Nicola are at the helm. How long have you been there, Luke?
So on and off, I've been here since oh gosh. So I started here in 2020. I left in 22 and I've come back in last year now. Last year, and here I am.
That's like the yachting world. You're going to go, come. It's, it's a funny trend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your favourite thing about it, about kind of Wilson, not so much Wilsonhalligan, but the yachting industry or the business or Wilsonhalligan? What's your favourite thing about that?
Like both really, I love the industry. With the industry, it's always a learning day in this industry. Nothing's ever straightforward. And I think that's the thing that keeps you on the toes the most. And I think also for everyone on board, probably even more so, you've got to adapt and change all the time to how the market's going and how it goes. And I think the industry is like, I said the other day to someone, I was like, I could never leave this industry. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I think the new things that play out, what they're doing with the yachts now, the builds, how things are happening, what's coming in now, what's going on in the industry. And as you look over many of the years that it's happened, it's progressing. Probably not as fast as everyone would love it to, but it's certainly getting that way.
Yeah, what I like about it is, like you mentioned, some of the students that you worked with that came up and asked you a question, is there room in yachting, like for a younger female you mentioned? And that's what I like about yachting, is there's a right program for everyone, whether it's shoreside, whether it's on board, whether it's in recruitment. You kind of go down rabbit holes in yachting of what you want to do career-wise, and that's what I think. There is room for everyone, correct?
Absolutely. There is, and there's so many transferable skills as well. And, whether you've worked in a high-end restaurant or whether you worked in a busy restaurant, you know that you can use that and utilize it. If you're an interior member of a team, you can utilize that and use that into the industry as well, which I think is beautiful. Yeah, the hotel industry, you can help people there, great work. You've already got these, all of a sudden you've got these skill sets, and I think sometimes it's not really pushed out enough, with these skill sets, there's so much you can do. I mean, one of my friends was so manager on 41 when I went 5 years ago, he joined the yachting industry, so maybe it was a bit too late. And but he was doing underfloor heating. He was walking backwards for a living. And then that started a job where I was a death hand on a 100-metre bus. And I was like, I want to, and I think it's amazing, because there really is a job out there for everyone. And regardless of what the background is, there is so much that you can do now and utilize it. I think that's the key thing for when you're looking for someone. I think that's the beauty of it. When you speak to these cadets and people coming through and, they ask you the questions, it's their jobs for people like me. And I think that's the bit where you look at it and you go, there is, it's not because the plane's on.
My success has always been the training of people. And when you mention cadets, I do think that is the future of yachting recruitment, is that cadetship program, because you're combining quality education with quality vetted experiences. How do you see it moving forward? The cadetship programs. Do you see them many international students or mostly UK?
No, I used to work for a management company before this, and I know they were keen on doing the sponsorship, so they were sponsoring them, and I think it's an amazing thing. I think, it really gave a step up to the opportunities for everyone in the industry to if they want to progress, to get their own W, or maybe they wanted to go the officer route, or maybe they wanted to go the engineer route, but I think it gave them that pathway of doing it. With that, I think leads on to, skill set wise, I think it's nice to have that. And I think it's a long training program, but I think, if someone who hang out and do it and roll the sleeves up and appreciate, obviously, there's a lot of margin work, which not everyone loves. I'm not a fan of it going through, but one of my friends, he was doing it. He was the one I should have mentioned, the same age, and he's going through his engineer tickets at the moment. And he was like, so much class and work. He's on a cruise ship. He wasn't on a cruise ship somewhere, and he was just like, wow, it's just a whole new world. So,
yeah. But once it's done, it's done. Like, how long is the cadetships? Like 4 years from junior to officer lodge?
Yeah. Depending on, exactly. So I think now there's different routes. You have the SP route. Well, now the Y has been phased out. You got the SP route. I think that was still there. So there's plenty of opportunities. But I think it's nice. I think it's good. I love it. I think the fact that you can enhance yourself further within an industry to really put yourself where you want to be in life. And I think it's amazing, if you've got a passion for it and you love it and you actually enjoy waking up and going to work each day. I appreciate it's a pressure cooker at times, but I think that's the nicest bit about it. And if you can handle that, then it's great.
Yeah, it's tough. And but I'll be honest here, a lot of times, the way I work with my team is we do a lot of mental health training. We talk about it and we laugh a lot about it and the jokes. But the seriousness is it's a real tough environment because you're really taken away from everything that you're known, your comforts, your family, the things you want to eat, the things you want to do. And you put in this pressure cooker and the demand and the expectations, they seem to just keep getting higher and higher, which is, I don't know how far we can go with it. But what's changed the most that you've seen in the last 5 years in yachting, in terms of recruitment or from a business development management perspective?
I think now it's more I think people are more pushing for that time. There is more rotations coming into the business from what I see. Certainly now, I think that's probably the most prominent one. I think that's the biggest thing for everyone. I think, everyone wants that bit of time off, and people are not prepared to sit there anymore and do the long days and, have just so many days leave. People, they'll just go somewhere else. And that's the thing. And I think that's where I think there's been quite a bit of reduction with yachts and programs that are starting to bring it in. Certainly with a lot of people I spoke with are changing it. Or maybe if they don't have the rotation, then they'll have a more generous leave period. If it's a single season, then they'll get the more leave through the winter period. There's more wellness. There's more food for crew as well, which I think is the biggest thing. And don't get me wrong, I can imagine being at work 24 hours a day. It's partners coming in for 8. So,
well, I grew up in a restaurant in Australia there was a family restaurant, and we lived beside the restaurant. So I think my whole life I've just woken up and gone to work. It's felt like, and so as a yacht captain, I think you get so accustomed to it. But I feel it for junior crew, it's very difficult to adjust. What about AI? In the last 5 years, AI is really obviously last year even, and every day it seems to change. You've got that challenge, Luke, as a business development manager of one of the greatest yacht recruitment agencies. How do you even kind of wake up and start your thought process of where you look at the company and how, the goal is connect crew to jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think AI is always going to be a part of it. And I think it's the traffic because it was one of probably the most quickly contested things at the moment when people talk about it, So in our place, you got your autonomous, trying autonomous ships at the moment. They've just done France as well. And you think, I was just, where are you going with this technology and what's the problem in 10 years, and that's just sitting now. And you think AI's been around since what, 2, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it's challenging, but you can see it from it's getting more clever as time goes on. Before you could read a lot of things and you were like, that's AI. And it's even more impressive. But I appreciate it, I think for everyone, I think it's a good tool if you use it wisely. Don't use it for it's great information and knowledge. I mean, certainly again, everyone can know everything, but I think if you use it wisely, it's okay. I looked at something the other day and I looked at it was a test on what it was now. There was a test or something, and I thought, I'll run it through AI, see how it goes. And it gave me the exact answer of what I needed. And I thought, is that, where it's sourced 1 minute? And you can answer where did you get this information from? And it'll give you web links, it'll give you everything that we need. It's very aware of the from where it's not just from if it's there's this good talk on a notice board or something like that. I'll give you Reddit links to things. And I think, oh my gosh, I think it's crazy. But in terms of recruitment, I don't think it'll ever replace, because I think it always needs that human element. Yeah, it's much. I think it's great. I think the human element on it. I mean, you get an absolute idea of on board and what it's like on a vessel, and then go speak to someone, and then I don't think AI can tell you what that culture's like. And I know a lot of people that I've worked with, certainly throughout the years, who've been on board, and they explain, culture's one of the biggest things, and it's probably one of the questions I always get asked now. So I don't think it could replace it in that perspective, but I think it will replace a lot of things in time as time goes on.
Yeah, but it's the authenticity, I think, and what I've learned in social media too, because I've never had this journey. The last 2 years, I've really tried to understand more about the industry that I've worked so long and hard for, and I'm trying to give back with things like Check-in Tuesday. But I had a conversation with AI because do you know how it talks back to you? ChatGPT, how it holds conversation.
Yeah.
So the other day I did this walk and I was talking back and forth to it, and then I kind of realized you're not predictive. It's not predictive. It can't tell the future. It's going to tell you positive information, not factual information, but it's not going to support the dream that humans can create. And I think that's exciting. But the question I've asked, which football team do you go for?
Ooh.
Premier League.
Oh, no. No. Okay. Portsmouth.
Okay. So can it predict an outcome, though? Can AI, if you say Portsmouth are playing who? Wrexham?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When we do a fancy football thing. And it's funny, because one of the guys, he's picked his team purely off AR. Completely off AR. I think, have you even done that? And it's as good as what you put in. He's like, I need it to be X amount of players for 100 million. All right. And then he goes, but give me, and it was saying the most point scoring players of last season. Then he'll give me points per game, and he'll break it down, and it'll work on how many players. And then when it comes up to substitutions, he'll post the fixtures in there, and then he's like, now give me who should I transfer out my team? So he screenshots the team, he screenshot the fixtures, and then I'm just going to put it in. And you think, well, it's not even that. I think it's fascinating and it's super clever.
But is it accurate? Is it accurate? Oh, because I always wondered that. That's the predictive.
He's not doing too well anyway, if that's what you're asking.
There you go. That reinforces the human element is more important. The gut instinct. Will Portsmouth win?
So how do you think it will find to change for you on bridge?
I think automated systems are 100% the way of the future. Gone of simple checklists, because there's no feedback loop on a checklist. So the automating, and AI is a part of that automation process. It's what is the trends of the data we're putting in. So it's not so much how it affects the day-to-day. It's more what trends are we seeing in equipment, what trends are we seeing in safety, that's kind of where I see it in vessel management, in maintenance, in preventative maintenance. And then also in guests now that when they arrive they want that interaction so quick, second after second. What's that? What's that tree? What's that? With Google Images, they expect someone to know everything. And you can't. I know a couple of trees in Alaska, but I don't know every single tree. So I use, AI through Google Images and different programs to say, here's this tree, and let's talk about what information would you like to know. And it's just the access to information is so fast now through those tools, and that's the change. The kids and the guests want that interaction.
Yeah, it's frightening. Because before it used to be, you used to use the term, Google it, and everyone said, Google it, just Google it, here, Google it. No, it's ChatGPT. It's easier. Yeah, I had a problem with a reply yesterday. One of my keys broken a lot. I said, oh no. And then my instant mobilization would start the car, and I thought, wow. So it's all the ChatGPT there. And it's like, you need to do this reset. I thought, I would never know. And I was a bit of reset mode. It's like, you need to do a step-by-step reset. So I was like, oh my gosh. And there's some things I break it down in simpler terms. Like, I'm a simple human. And then start breaking it down for me. And I thought, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's definitely the new path.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exciting. I find that exciting because I just think, never in a million years, I'm no way car savvy in any way, structural imagination. As for me, it was beautiful because don't get me wrong, it didn't work, but it was like you need to pull something out. And I was like, that's great. It's great on one hand, it's as good as what you use it. And I think you can't. I think you can see CV when it comes through with the you can see there's always you can read everything. There's a lot of AI detectors out there now with Snapshot trials, so you can run things from the AI detectors.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Then you can see it with everything, which is a lot of content that it's posted, and there's a lot of stuff out there. And you think, that's I know you speak, and that's not how you speak, And
So what's you're in the business management side of Wilsonhalligan. For you also probably get a really good overview of the industry because you're not so much in recruitment. Would that be correct?
Yeah. So I do. So here my role is I sit with our recruiting team and I sit with my land-based team as well. So a little bit about me. I think this is my 10th year of recruitment for 20 years as it looks like. 10th year recruitment, I've always done maritime land-based, and then I did brewing, and then I've done brewing, I've done land-based, and now I sit in a role where I just sit in the middle effectively, and I have each department, so we work in by department here, so we do our interior team, our engineering, galley, land-based, deck team, opposite desk as well, so I sit in between it all, so it's it's an interesting role. That's cool.
You've got 20 people there? How many? 16 are in the team?
No. We've got, I don't know why, around no one's here, but I think it's just 10 or 11 people in the team now. So it's a good team. It's a good team.
You're a very efficient 10. I'll give you that much because it seems like from the outside, it seems like there's 20 or 30 of you. And I'm like, you've always got a presence. You've got a good positive presence.
Yeah, it's a super kudos to the team. It's a very close team. We hold a sports day in the summer, which is always great fun. Anyone's welcome to it. We invite different businesses within the industry as well. Liam, who works for the business, is a superyacht charity ambassador as well, and Nicola, he's my business partner as well. And they're a great team to what they do. And I think you use really old cliche, it's a real family environment. It really is a family environment, and I personally quite of them, and that's probably why.
Well, I've seen some good interviews of Liam and walking around the office and the team and some background footage. And I'm like, it looks like a good place to work. But backing up to your overview of it all, what's the biggest mistake you see in that crew make in choosing a vessel? Because not the mistake they make in the CVs, because maybe a face tattoo is not a good idea, or earrings or dreadlocks.
Yeah.
What's the mistake you see in them choosing a program?
Yeah. They
don't ask enough questions, perhaps.
I think some people still get overwhelmed when they're in an interview, and I think some people are really confident in interviews. Sometimes you put someone forward and they have an interview and they're brilliant, they ask so many questions, when they come off the phone to us, I think amazing. They've asked so many questions, they've asked this, they've asked that, and I think that's great. And I always say to people, don't be afraid to ask questions, because once it's an interview for you, you need to make sure that's the right program for you. You need to make it work both ways. And I said, always always have a good couple of questions at the end. Whatever you interview for, and just in regards into life anyway, just have a couple of questions always in the back burner. My favourite one is, and I always say to them, what's the longevity like on board? I love that question because for me, it opens up so much. It opens up so much. When I first joined here, when I interviewed, I said, what's the longevity like in the team?
Exactly. That's a strange question.
So and if there is on a base yachts design, and I said, and there was a minimum of 3 years, of both, I believe that, and it's all the way up to 10. And I thought, because that speaks volumes to me of what leadership is.
Yeah.
because I thought no one stays around to hang in now to go in there. So I think people, I always say to them, ask questions, and I think sometimes they go to an interview and they get overwhelmed by it and they stop, and then they don't ask the same questions of what they would have asked before. So I always say, just make sure you ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, but do you think it's the vessel's, mistake? Because, when we, obviously I'm on this side of the fence, if you want to say that, but, your role when you're interviewing someone is to ask them questions and you don't often create space for them to ask you. So I think the industry is also at fault here by not creating the space for the candidates to feel comfortable enough to ask the questions. Like I usually put it in writing, saying you've got to come with 3 questions. I come with 3, you come with 3, and that's it. Kind of it says let's make this neutral. We're even, we have emergencies. There's a chain of command, but we have to treat each other. I try and treat people as professional athletes. I said you're employed on a football team, and we may have different wages, but it doesn't mean that we've got a different goal. We've all got the same goal, and that's to put the ball in the back of the net and make the client
absolutely.
So just take away some attitude and ego and ask each other the questions. So I think it's more of an industry problem than the poor candidate. But that's a good point. That's a very good point about a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not some people will ask it, some people won't. But I always think, you need to ask these questions because you need to find out whether that's whether it's suitable for you. Because I say to them, it's a long time that you're going to be on board. If you're doing a season or you don't have a rotation, that's a long time. I said, in the first month, it's always like your honeymoon period. It's like dating someone. You have your honeymoon period. You love it. Oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then, the second month you see all the aches and pains start coming in. You think, oh, hang on a minute, it's ache for a man.
Yeah,
and then all
third month you're rethinking your life decisions.
yeah. And the third month, it's realization is all picked in, and this is not one. You're not on the briefing anymore. You're not just going for this message. You passed that rail 5 times this week, and then you've got to go back out there again. So it's some things, and I think it's super important to make sure where you're going, you want to enjoy, because in ambulance, you go to work 9-5, you report at 9-5, you do it, you're home again. You're moaning, you have wind down time, you're in your car, drive home, or you commute home, however you do it. You're in there, you listen to music, podcasts, whatever, and then you're chilling out. And then you're getting in through the door, and whatever you got behind that door, whether you're a parent or whether you're single, you're a dog parent, whatever, you want to walk in through that door and be like, dinner on, let's have a nice evening. Yours and I'll be sat. Exactly, and I think when you're on board, you don't get to ask to walk home from one. If you walk down a few steps and that's it, you're in.
Yeah.
Back into your cabin. And that's it. And I think that's super important, It's just for me.
It's a shared cabin. There's a shared cabin too. So.
And you've got a snorer in there. Oh, gosh. Like, when you're suddenly like, oh, no. This is not what you're looking for. So all of a sudden, it's just making sure you've got the right suit. I think always ask questions. I'm a big advocate of it. And I think, is it an interview problem? Sometimes not. I think it's just time, and I think when you're on board, you don't have the time, whereas parks, you must all the time. So I appreciate sometimes things do go all right, but I love the fact that you ask. You come with 3 questions, I come with 3 questions.
How do I measure the metrics of retention? This is a personal question as well. I want to understand, how do you measure it? Because retention, by asking the questions, like you're saying, you prepare yourself for choosing the right vessel. But as a captain or a leader, how do I measure that retention?
Well, no, I spoke to a captain, and he says anything under 10% is great.
Anything what?
Under 10%. He's on a 60 plus.
Okay.
Yeah. So he measures it by 10%. But I think it's really down to what is longevity. And I think when you actually break it down, I think when your time on board, your rotation, you think you've done a year. I mean, well, all the man hours included, it's probably done over, but you're on time. So you've only done so long. But then it's weird. We don't know how people measure it on board. How big you go, stay a year. That's all right. Stay 2 years, even better. So how that works, how that doesn't, I don't know. Some speakers are like, oh, we haven't had a change in the deck team in 1.5 years. Is that good or was that bad?
Yeah, true. Actually, true. What are the standards? How are we? Everyone's happy.
Take down. It's one of them where it's like, how are you, how do you look at your team and think, actually, do you know what? We've kept this deck department for this long. And I think when you have D's is kind of, they're the foundations and some of the gaps, right? So I think that and its whole of great longevity on board with the junior positions. And this is what I hear from a lot, and I think I hear it all the time. And, you will get people who move, people move on for various reasons. Yeah. And it's not always to jump to somewhere else. Maybe it is to go somewhere else where it's got, maybe it's got a time for time, or maybe it's got something else that they do as well, or it's got a little bit more flexibility. But the junior positions will always have a little bit of like makers and movers in there, And I think that's always going to happen, because if you're good at the time, it means there's no more room, and there's only so much progression that you can give someone within the yacht to go, well, actually, I don't know, maybe it's Chief Officer, you're cheating now and I'm not going anywhere. I know my back ain't going anywhere time soon. It's a dead man's shoes thing. It's like, well, what do I do? And I spoke to someone the other day, and he went up to Chief Officer on board the shop, and he said, I have to go get my captaincy. So he'd done his captaincy, got his first gig, done that for 1 or 2 years, and then he had a phone call from his old job. The captain's position going.
Oh, wow.
And he went back. And I was like, do you know what? I love hearing stories like that, because I think it's amazing that sometimes you do need to go and fly the nest, come back, and then if there's an opportunity and you leave on great terms, there's no reason why that door's supposed to be
100%.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think sometimes people go over rugby. I think that bit, is someone progresses. I speak to a deckhand this week, and I said, oh, what have you up to? And he's like, done my cadetship. I said, oh, brilliant. It was like CWs and everything else. It's amazing. Went on board a 60 metre, and then we went on to an 80. I've been here 3 years. I was like, it's amazing. I said, what are you doing now? I'm a bosun. I was like, bloody hell. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel, good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
First job with the same owner. It's now been there 3 and a bit years. Yeah. I think, good on you. To be bosun now. And I said, what's your goal? What's your next goal? What do you want to get to next? And he said, oh, I'm sure at the moment. I said, I'm happy where I am. I said, that's great to have. I said, if you're happy and you enjoy going to work and you enjoy what you do, sweet. Yeah, absolutely. So I get it. People move for various reasons, but I think in terms of going
back. But that's fine, though. I think that's fine. It's good to move. Like I say to people, let's do a season together. We're a team. Let's do a season and let's see where our results are at the end of the season and see where we want to grow. But, to your point, I think probably 40% of the crew that I'm working with now have left and then come back. And I have so much respect for that, because they've left on good terms to grow their career, to try a new experience. And then they've come back in similar roles or different roles, but they've understood the culture's more important than the actual wage or position. Or it's more, they're not coming back for the boat or for me or the owner. They're coming back because we've created something unique that it resonates with their style of living. They can have a balance. And that's where I measure success, not by time, by who are the people around you and how do they support each other growing?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a massive team, Dave. And that's the thing, isn't it? And I think it goes back to, I've used like I was kind of team sports, and I was like, one person to do this, Messi can't do football on his own. He needs this other teammates to help him to be the best that he can. And that's the same, isn't it? And I think this is what you do. It's always what you do on board has a massive effect to what people look for. And I think sometimes people come out of that and then realize, like you said, with your returning crew, I think it's absolutely incredible, because I left here because I know I needed to go and do something else. So I did. I left for 2.5 years. I come back, and it's.
You come up with a bit more calm and a bit more. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to I like when people come back. There's a little less stuff like, and some are fired, some are resigned. It's okay.
Yeah.
But we've gone through another stage in our relationship, you know?
Well, your skill on it has changed because I know of this business and I have a whole different set of eyes with my last set of eyes I had on this business. And I think, wow, like, you know, the reasons why I come back, you know, it is the team in here, and the goal for me, the success is being with the team, and I enjoy the team. They are fun, good. You know, I can use what life and events happening outside. You can walk them in, you can be as sure as damn it. As soon as you get a minute through that door, that's it. You know what I mean? You don't think about that. You know, I've had some dark times, you know, in terms of like life events, that was serious life events, and I've come to here and I've enjoyed it, you know, and I just think the worst, sort of. It is, and I think that's the thing, and I think you're right. You know, measure it by success, not by long time. You know, long time. You someone's given you 6 months of that hardest. You know, I mean,
it's funny though, so many of the crew that after the 6 months or after a year they've left, and there's so many of them out there that I'm like, I really want that person to come back. For them, for me, you know what I mean? It's the way I kind of work, and then you don't put any pressure, and then the time they want to come back and the time's not right. And then you want them back and the time's not right, and they haven't got a position. And then all of a sudden, a year or two later, it lines up and they come on board and you're like, let's go back to where it started. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. What's all through longevity and stability? You know, if you have stability.
I've been on board 3 years unbridled, and it's the same chief officer, the same chief stewardess, and the same chief engineer. And they are the core of my team. They're the people I work closest with, and then the people around them have, you know, either in relationships or friends of or developed. And we've got some great crews from you. But you know, for me, I kind of put it like it is a family, but it's also a team family where you've got a personal life and your business life, and it doesn't mean you get on. It doesn't mean you're the best of friends, but it means when times are tough, that person's going to notice that and give you a hand and. You know, I pat you on the back. Like sometimes I walk past someone, I'm like, go on, it's all right. It's all right. We're going to get through this one. So we got 2 more days and it's the end of the week, or we got another week and the end of the charter. But in wrapping up though, what's your, because I usually only talk 15 minutes. I think you and I align in a lot of our visions of, you know, where we see success, and that's important. Where do you see the industry in kind of 3 to 5 years? These yachts keep getting bigger. The cruise ships keep kind of coming into our space now with charters like 4 seasons. How do we?
I think, it's different. I think legends, you know, it's now up Laris, I think it is. I may have actually crucified that, but you know, that's changing now. That's changed, and I think, wow, that's massive, you know. And I think the new builds that are coming out are just incredible. I just think some of the, you know, there's been some beautiful ones coming out, and I think some of the designs and everything is just it's incredible. And funny enough, I think it's interesting. I think the energy side of it is going to be the biggest thing, you know. And
wow,
I think that's the super interesting part, and I would love to see more of it. Personally, from my own personal point of view, you know, and I think, you know, there's that big one that was already trying to do it, but it's interesting. It's an interesting time as we go through. You know, there's so much in build. I was looking the other day, and you know, just in the spreadsheet that we've got, you know, so many 100 meters, so many over the 100 meter mark coming out at the moment. It's super interesting, and it's like, wow, you know, and it's just. Some of the stuff that's coming on board is just unreal. Yeah. You know, it is super exciting. And as a massive nerd that I am, you know, I just delve into all of it, you know. To have my favourite is hard, you know. I'm looking kid in a street shop now and I think, oh, that's beautiful, I love that. And then someone goes, what are the deckhand? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone's like, imagine putting them windows. I'm like, but I don't look at that.
Yeah, not at all. I can appreciate it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It brings 5 years where it would be in terms of like recruitment wise and evolving. I think, you know, there's a new yacht modules coming out for so you do your master's ticket, do your chief officer's ticket as well, and I think that's coming out, the MCA. I don't know to this date of when it actually is, but you know, the modules are changing all of a sudden. Yeah, so if you are a Master 3000, and all of a sudden, you know, you're going back to the bar, your yacht ticket. So it's going to be an interesting time for that coming out, which is interesting, which is super interesting, because I think, you know, having a commercial ticket and then all of a sudden you have to change over and do a yacht ticket, it's going to be a good one.
Can you go the other way? Do you know, have you heard talks about that?
No, I don't know. I've only looked so much and read so much, but it's interesting. It's going to be, it'd be interesting to see how it affects. You know, I spoke to someone the other day and he has his Master 3000 and he said, yeah, I'd like to put my limited, but if they're going to change too much, I don't have time for the and bloody Luke said, oh, you know, is there much classroom? Yeah, it was a lot of classroom, but I got back to the end.
Yeah.
To get to change.
I'd do it if it was summer in England. I'd do it if it was summer in England, maybe, not a winter. If I had to go back to a classroom, I did this summer.
I'm not saying if you think summer thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
see what happens.
We're going to catch up another time because I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for everything. Everyone, I think, knows Wilsonhalligan. You got the website, you got the social media. I think info@Wilsonhalligan's the company email for people out there.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough for joining me on the Captain's Chat. It's been one of the favorite.
For the pleasure.
You know, I think we figured out success is not a measurable metric. It's the feeling of the people around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big key takeaway.
All right, be safe, mate. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, here's me. Take care. Thanks a lot.